Hello guys and welcome to this new little RnD series. First of all, I wanted to let you know I've got a new project on Behance up. It's called the Flower Series and it's my first photography project. You can check it out, the link will be down in the description. Another thing is there is currently sale on CG Circuit. With this code you will get 30% and it's available till of end October. So CPN 30 OCT for 30% off. Cool. Yeah, don't save that. I'm here in Houdini 18 and I just want to get a little bit of the RnD series back. It was a while till the last video, and just let me know down in the comments if I should do like also really long RnD videos or tutorials, like 1 to 3 hours with just doing some RnD. So be sure to leave that in the comments and we will get started here. I don't have anything specific currently in the mind, but I think we will get there. So let me just save that RnD. This is, I think, number 8. Okay, cool. I started with a geometry here, just a simple geometry container. Let's call it geo underscore RnD. Okay, I want to make that round and black here and dive inside. What we can do? Okay, I've got an idea. Let's start with a sphere here. And I want to use that sphere for a scatter sub with the combination of copy to points, other spheres, maybe volume, something like that. Let's find out. I think we should increase the frequency just a little bit. And then I want to displace it. I don't want to displace it with a mountain. Sure, you can do that, but I want to place down an attribute WOP. And we will call this add displacement. Displace, whoops. And we will dive inside with double click or the I key. Dive inside here and whoops. Dive inside, and we want to displace it a little bit. We will use the position in combination with a noise and in combination with a displace along normal. I will press tab and place down first of all a displace along normal and that into position, and after that I want to place down a noise. Let's get a simple anti-aliased noise here, the position, and pipe that into a mount and get the position. And we've got, with just two simple nodes, we've got a noise displacement. Of course you can bump now the frequency up to get a lot more details. So for example a frequency of 500 will of course get you a lot more details than 25. Okay, now we can play with the parameters a little bit. I won't fit the noise because I want to get also negative values. Yeah, I think that will be fine. After that I will place down a smooth here and we will smooth the hell out of it. So strength maybe 25, and you already will get this pretty cool organic form. After that, I want to place down a scatter node to scatter points. Then I want a sphere. I want that one here. This will displace the spheres maybe. Maybe in a for each loop. I want to copy the points. And I want another warp. Point warp. And now let's combine them here. And that one. I really like the new function in 80.5. And yeah, scattering some points. We will go for maybe 30 points. I will uncheck the relax iteration here. And with the point warp we will get a random rotation, or a random seed would be better. Random seed for p-scale, random seeds for scale. And then we will copy that on top, and then we will add displacement. Okay. First of all, I want to dive into the p-scale here, and we will place down what I want to do. I want to get a random value or random float value for each single point here. We will get a pt num here and place down a random, and with the random node we will get, let me just check this, we will get a random range based on the input between 0 and 1. It's just like the random function in vex. So for each input we will now get a random output. Let me just visualize that with a bind node, bind export. And now you can see we've got on each point, we've got a random value from currently here 0.91 to 0.031, for example. Cool. So we got our random values here, and we will bind that out to p-scale. Let's make p-scale and call it here p-scale. And what I want to do, I want to randomize this a little bit. I want to place down a fit so we can determine the destination min and max for the p-scale. So I only want a range between 0.25 and 1. After that we can place down a ramp to further manipulate or art direct the whole p-scale. Spline ramp. Multiply after the ramp with a parameter, and the parameter will get the name mult_scale for multiplication, the p-scale, so you will get an overall multiplier. Mult_scale. Cool. Let's add also an add node here and just a really simple seed value with a parameter, an integer range from 1 to 50,000 or 5,000, and call it seed. Seed and seed. Cool. And we don't see anything because our ramp is currently on 0, so it's flat, and we also need to dial up our multiple scale here, and I think we need to connected it wrong. Okay, the seed works also, that's cool. And now we've got this here, and now we can of course play with our ramp here. And I want to get an even distribution, so I want to get connectivity between the spheres, but also to get like structures like these. And let's play a little bit with the seed here. and with our ramp. Okay, that's cool. And after that I will place down again our anti-aliased noise here with a pretty big frequency to get something like this. Cool. After that, place down a VDB from polygons. And we will convert this into a density volume with a voxel size of, yeah, let's go a little bit, 0.01. For concepting, let's dial that a little bit up, so a voxel size of 0.025, and place down a volume bob. And we can manipulate the volume here, the density volume, with our volume bob. Place down a null here, for example, to stay organized. Out volume. And we will manipulate our volume with a noise. Pretty simple. Again, maybe an anti-aliased noise. That's fully up to you. And you can already see with just one simple node we will get something. I will go up for a second, go to convert VDB, and we will convert that back to polygons. And we will get this really cool, destroyed, corrupted form here. Of course, now you can play with the 3D position. Let's find something cool. I like that here. And after that, what I want to do, I want to bump up a little bit the resolution. So for example 0.01. I think that's pretty good for the resolution for now. And what I want to do, let me think quickly. What we can do, we can convert it back to a VDB. So again, a VDB from polygons, and that one again. And we will convert the whole thing not to a density, we will convert to a distance VDB, to surface VDB, to something like that. And then we can use the VDB, where is it? The VDB reshape. The VDB reshape. And the cool thing is with the VDB reshape you can dilate it, for example. So to get something like this, so that's pretty cool. You can erode it, and I really love the erode node. So we can erode it like 2.5 units, or a value of 2.5. And then we can convert it back, and we will end up with something like this. So a pretty abstract geometry. With just a few nodes here. Of course, what you can try out now, you can smooth the hell out of this. Oh, okay, 5000. I think that's. Let's just check 500. I think that will take a while, but yeah, you will get a really smooth geometry. Maybe that's the look you want, but I want to currently stay with this here. And I want to get a little bit of smoothing here, but not too much. Okay, I think that's alright. And what I also want to do, go back to the VDB reshape and place down VDB segment by connectivity, and we will blast some pieces here away that are not connected to the main geometry. Place down a blast node, surface 0, delete non-selected, pipe it back into the convert. And we can go back to our smooth leg. And of course you can remove the color with a simple color sub color. And make it white. Cool. Now we got our abstract organic geometry here. And I think just like the process of generating this organic forms is really cool, because you can now think of it in several different ways. So do you want to make a mineral environment, or maybe a fully abstract material film with stuff like that, or is it a object in a museum, and so on and so on. So let me get a sip of tea here, and after that we will continue. Cool. Okay, let me check. Poly count is not much. Maybe I will place down a final null here. Let me check the time quickly. Okay. And call it out geo, and place a material. Mat underscore. We will dive up and we will set up a redshift render environment. But first of all, a camera here. We will deal with the camera later. Another cool thing, I think it's new in 18.5, when you lock your camera, it will become red here. I just got a idea. When you now make a poly reduce, or you can pump the adaptivity up here, and when you got this volume here, when you place down a vellum cloth, where's the vellum cloth? Here's the vellum cloth. When you place down a vellum cloth and combine that with a vellum brush, I think you can get some pretty cool detail on that one. Sure, that's just currently I think, of course you can okay, that's cool. Of course you can play with not adaptivity, but I think what would be better is a simple remesh, maybe. Let's place down a remesh here. I think that will take a little bit, but let's make it on 1. Remeshing. Or what you also can do, you can you can poly reduce it, for example. I think that would be also not okay. What the fuck? Okay, we need to dial up the target size a little bit. But yeah, the remesh is pretty slow sometimes. But I think with poly reduce it will be a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's also pretty good, and especially when you dial up the iterations here. But when you place down a poly reduce, let's just delete and maybe 10%. Yeah, that's much better than the adaptivity stuff. Reset all changes. And now you can play around with the vellum brush And of course try out other tools from Houdini Vellum, but I think that's with yeah, kind of the setup here, you can get really nice forms and shape. Oh my god, that's oh god, I got so many ideas right now in my head. Okay, let's just get a little bit more rotation, and we can use you will get this menu when you will press the right click on your mouse, crease and shuffle. I want to crease them here a little bit. Let me just yeah, okay. And again, to rotate a little bit. So you can change the rotation direction if you press Control on your keyboard. Okay. And now we need to, of course, increase the resolution. So press Tab and place on a vellum post process. You can blur it a little bit, of course, and I will do loop subdivision just so we can get back to a good amount of polys. I think 1 million, that should be enough. And yeah, you will get this really cool form here. Let's go back to 1. Of course, you can stay with this form, but if you want to spin it a little bit further, you can go with that form. And just to get a little bit of process idea, after that you can remesh, reconvert it back to a volume, make a volume out of it. Try to use it for kind of smoke stuff, something like that. Or out of the volume you will convert it back to polys and yeah, scatter some points, connect the points, stuff like that. That's of course fully up to you. Okay, geo out, material, we are set, and we already placed a camera, but we need to place some more nodes down here. The material node, material network, RS mat. We will build the material in here, and let me get an out network, a ROP network, sorry, and call it RS out. I usually color these in red, and I want to dive inside, create a RS custom, let's call it RS render out 001, and I will enable the global illumination on brute force, and on the system I will enable optics RT and automatic sampling. That will do the job. And what I want to do now, this is set. Oh, we will need a light. I will use a light dome here. RS light dome 001, not 991. And I will use a simple HDRI file, something like that here. Let me look through the camera here. Okay. What I need to do now, I can get, of course, I will play a little bit with our camera here to get a little wider field of view, so decrease the focal length of the camera, maybe something like this. 35 millimeters, and we will bump up the resolution, and we will copy the parameter from the focus distance to the DOF from the redshift, paste relative reference 0.1. we will use a bokeh image. There were some comments about the bokeh images, so there are some around in the internet, but I usually will photograph them by myself. and I will for sure will do a tutorial in the future on how to generate real life bokeh images with your camera, but just that you know that little side information. Okay, we are set with our geometry here, our redshift is set up, our light dome is set up, and camera is also set up. I will start the render view now. And we will get this. Okay, cool. I will just disable the background for now, and I will get a focus right, and you already can see looks pretty cool. What we can do, because we got a wide angle lens, and when you are further away with a wide angle length, you need a greater aperture or a wider aperture to get a little bit more depth of field. So we will increase that to something like 0.25, something that will please your eye. When you've got a longer focal length and you are close to the subject, you will get a much greater depth of field effect with a smaller COC radius. So when we are now like get framing from here in this area here with maybe with 90 millimeters, and you will set your COC radius on 0.1, that's already pretty high, and you will get only a small focus plane or interval, and just that you know that. Okay, we've set up our geometry here with our rendering, but I think that's not perfectly in the center. Of course, it don't need to be perfectly in the center, but after that we can dive into our RS and place down an RS material. RS mat. Now I will dive up again and dive into our geo network. Let me just close this for a second, and we can press on that button here. And we can just drag and drop it in here, or we can select it here. Okay, cool. Now we can play a little bit with our material. For example, we can use glass to get this really refractive look. We can use copper, looks pretty cool, and so on. So that's fully up to you. Let me just basic material, and we can use, for example, the curvature node, connect it, play a little bit with the curvature, something like that, and now you can ramp the curvature. And for example, we can get some colors involved in here. For example, yellow to a bluish kind of color, or green, or let's choose white. And you will end up with something like this. That's pretty cool. What you also can do, you can use RS Material Blender, and you can use now our curvature here for blending of two materials. Pipe that in here, pipe that in here, and pipe that in here. And now you can blend two materials together, for example now glass and aluminium, and you will end up with something like this. So the possibilities are of course endless. Let's get another, maybe copper here also, so a kind of metal material, and yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Let me increase here saturation a little bit, and you will end up with something like this. So I hope you like this tutorial, and by the way, I'm really sorry I forgot to scale the UI up, but I hope you can also watch it, and if you got any questions, if you can't read something for this video, just type it down into the comments and I will answer your comment, and of course I will scale it up in the next tutorial. But I hope you liked it, and yeah, check out my new Behance project, my Instagram and so on, and I will see you in the next tutorial. So stay safe and bye bye.